The recordings are on my phone. 3 hours of proof. Richard's voice, Alex's lies, the proposition, everything. I've listened to them 100 times since that night. Each time, my blood boils. Each time, I get closer to doing what I should have done months ago. Confront him. Not as Alia, not as his assistant, not as the scared woman who changed her identity and hid in plain sight, but as Sarah, his wife, the woman he left to die in the jungle. Today, I'm walking into his office, and I'm not walking out until he knows the truth. My name is Alia Sheikh, but for the next few minutes, I'm going to be someone else, and Alexander Harrington has no idea what's coming. I woke up at 5 a.m., couldn't sleep, didn't even try. My apartment was quiet. Tiffany was still asleep on my couch, her face peaceful for the first time in months. Sarah had gone home, but texted me at 3 a.m., "You've got this, we're all with you." Kai had sent me a file at 4 a.m., more evidence, more names, more proof that my father, my own father, had been tangled up with these monsters for years. I sat at my kitchen table, the same table where I'd stared at his photograph nights ago, and I spread everything out. Recordings, documents, photographs, the diary Tiffany had kept, the names Sarah had given me. It was all there, everything we needed to destroy him. And yet my hands were shaking, not from fear, from anticipation, from knowing that after today, nothing would ever be the same. I got dressed slowly, the same cream scarf with gold threads, the same charcoal blazer, the same woman who walked into that restaurant, but different now, stronger, angrier, ready. Before I left, I looked at myself in the mirror. I said out loud, "You're not Alia today, you're Sarah, and Sarah is done being a victim." The woman in the mirror nodded back. I arrived at Harrington Corp at 8:30 a.m., early enough to avoid the rush, late enough that Alex would be in his office. The lobby felt different today. The marble floors, the glass elevators, the receptionist who smiled at me every morning, it all felt like a dream, like I was walking through someone else's life. The elevator ride to the top floor took 30 seconds. 30 seconds of staring at my reflection in the polished steel doors. 30 seconds of breathing. 30 seconds of reminding myself why I was here. For Tiffany, for Sarah, for every woman whose name I'd found in those files. For myself. The doors opened. I stepped out, walked down the hallway toward his office. His assistant's desk was empty. Jenny had been fired last week. Not working out, Alex had said. I knew what that meant. Another woman discarded. I walked past her empty chair, stopped in front of his door. The nameplate read, Alexander Harrington, CEO. I didn't knock. I opened the door and walked in. He was sitting at his desk, phone to his ear, laughing at something. When he saw me, his expression shifted from surprise to that familiar smile, the predator smile. He held up a finger. 1 second, then back to the phone. "Yeah, sounds good. Let's do lunch next week. Tell Richard I said hello." Richard's name. Even now, even here, he was still playing games with those monsters. He hung up, leaned back in his chair, said, "Alia, this is a surprise. I didn't have you on my calendar today." I closed the door behind me, walked to the center of his office, stopped. I said, "I'm not here for a meeting, Alex." His smile flickered just for a second, then returned. "Oh, then what are you here for?" I pulled out my phone, held it up so he could see the screen, the recording app, the red light, blinking. I said, "I'm here to play you something." I pressed play. Richard's voice filled the room. "Richard tells us you're new to the city, new to the company. Where are you from, Alia?" Alex's face didn't change. "Not yet." Then my voice. "I'm flattered. What kind of rewards?" Richard again. "Money, connections, protection, things a girl like you probably needs." Alex's smile started to fade. More. Tiffany's name, Sarah's name, other women, names he thought were buried forever. And then Richard's final words. "Don't think too long. Opportunities like this don't wait." I stopped the recording. The office was silent. Alex stared at me. His face was pale. His hands, resting on his desk, were perfectly still. He said, "Where did you get that?" I said, "I was there. I recorded it." His eyes narrowed. "You were at that dinner?" I nodded. I was. He stood up slowly, walked around his desk, stopped a few feet from me. You recorded my private dinner with my business partners? I held his gaze. I recorded everything. Richard's proposition, your lies, all of it. He laughed. Actually laughed. And what do you think you're going to do with that, Alia? Go to the police? They'll laugh you out of the station. I own this city. I didn't blink. I said, I'm not going to the police. He tilted his head. Then what? I took a step closer, closer than I'd ever been to him since the accident, close enough to see the fear hiding behind his arrogance. I said, I'm going to tell you who I really am. His expression shifted. Confusion, suspicion, something else, something that looked almost like recognition. I reached up, slowly, deliberately. I took off my glasses. His eyes widened. I reached up again, unpinned my scarf, let it fall to my shoulders. My dark hair, dyed, hidden for months, was now visible. He stared. His mouth opened, closed, opened again. I said, look at me, Alex. Really look. He did. His eyes traveled over my face, searching, remembering, and then I saw it, the moment he knew. His face went white, absolutely white. He stepped back, stumbled against his desk, knocked over a cup of pens. They scattered across the floor. He whispered, no. I said, yes. He shook his head. No, no, you're dead. You died in that jungle. I saw the dogs. I saw. I laughed, a cold, quiet laugh. You saw nothing. You ran. You left me there to die. But I didn't die. A tribe saved me, healed me, and while I was recovering, I watched you on television, crying, playing the grieving husband, collecting $5 million from my death. He was shaking now, his whole body trembling. I stepped closer. He stepped back, hit the wall. I said, I changed my name, my hair, my identity. I got a job in your company. I became your assistant. I sat in this office every day, watching you, listening to you, and you had no idea. His voice cracked. Alia, please. I said, that's not my name. My name is Sarah, your wife, the woman you left to die in the jungle. He slid down the wall, sat on the floor, stared up at me with eyes full of terror. I looked down at him, this man who had destroyed so many lives, who had broken Tiffany, trapped Sarah, betrayed me. I said, I have recordings, documents, testimonies from women you hurt. I have proof of your insurance fraud, your business dealings with Richard, everything. He whispered, what are you going to do? I knelt down, looked him in the eyes, said, I'm going to destroy you, Alex. Not with a knife, not with a gun, with the truth. I left him there, on the floor of his office, shaking, crying, begging me to stop. I walked out, past his empty assistant's desk, down the hallway, into the elevator. The ride down took 30 seconds. 30 seconds of silence. 30 seconds of feeling empty. Not victorious, not happy, just empty. When I reached the lobby, they were all waiting for me. Tiffany, Sarah, Kai. Tiffany ran to me first, hugged me, sobbing. She kept saying, you did it. You actually did it. Sarah stood behind her, crying too, but smiling. Kai walked to me, put his hands on my shoulders, looked me in the eyes, and said, how do you feel? I thought about it, really thought about it. I said, I don't know yet. Ask me tomorrow. He nodded, pulled me into a hug, held me tight. We stood there, in the lobby of Harrington Corp., the place where so many women had been hurt, used, discarded, and for the first time in months, I felt like maybe, just maybe, things were going to be okay. That was 3 days ago. 3 days of waiting, 3 days of checking my phone, 3 days of wondering what Alex was doing. Had he called Richard? Had he contacted his lawyers? Was he planning something? Kai told me to be patient. Said the evidence was solid, said we had him. But patience isn't my strong suit. Tiffany moved in with me temporarily. She was too scared to be alone. Sarah came over every night. We'd sit at my kitchen table, eating takeout, watching movies, pretending we were normal. But we weren't normal. None of us were. And then, last night, Kai called. He said, Sarah, I have news. My heart stopped. I said, what kind of news? He said, Richard was arrested this morning. Federal agents. Something about money laundering, human trafficking. They found the videos. They found everything. I couldn't breathe. He said, "He's talking, Sarah. He's giving them names. And your husband's name is at the top of the list." I sat down, hard. Tiffany ran to me. Sarah grabbed my hand. Kai said, "They're coming for Alex. Tomorrow, maybe the next day. But it's over. It's really over." I hung up, looked at Tiffany, at Sarah. I said, "Richard is arrested. He's talking. Alex is next." Tiffany burst into tears. Sarah hugged her, and I just sat there, staring at the wall, trying to process what I just heard. It was over. It was really over. This morning, I got another call from an unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me. A voice said, "Sarah?" It was a voice I hadn't heard in months, a voice I thought I'd never hear again. My father, Robert Vance. He said, "Sarah, baby, I know you're alive. I know everything. Kai told me." I couldn't speak. He said, "I'm so sorry for everything, for not protecting you, for trusting Alex, for being blind." I finally found my voice. I said, "Dad, where are you?" He said, "I'm coming home. I have information, Sarah. Information that will put Alex away for life. Information about Richard, about everything." I said, "Dad, what did you do?" He was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, "I made mistakes, terrible mistakes, but I'm going to make it right. I promise." He hung up. I stood there, phone in my hand, staring at nothing. Tiffany asked, "Who was that?" I said, "My father." She said, Is he coming?" I nodded. "He says he has information, that he can help." Sarah walked over, put her hand on my shoulder, said, "Can you trust him?" I looked at her, thought about the photograph, the documents, the names. I said, "I don't know, but I'm going to find out." It's midnight now. Everyone is asleep. I'm sitting at my kitchen table alone, staring at my father's photograph. The same photograph that broke my heart weeks ago. But now, everything is different. Richard is arrested, Alex is about to be, and my father is coming home. I don't know what he's going to tell me. I don't know if I can trust him. I don't know if I'll ever be able to look at him the same way again. But I know one thing. Tomorrow, everything changes. Next time on episode 6, The Final Reckoning, my father's confession, Alex's arrest, and the moment I finally become CEO of Harrington Corp. I've been waiting for this, fighting for this, dreaming about this, and it's finally here.